What's up YouTube? We're back with some more Fortnite, and in today's video we have a tutorial on the easiest way to not choke in the late game. I know a lot of people struggle with this, and so I think this video could help those people out. I get this question asked a lot in my streams and in my comments on my videos, and I think the late game is definitely one of my stronger aspects that I excel in. So I'm hoping to bring you guys a couple useful tips that I use, and hopefully you can take it and apply it to your game. And I apologize for the lack of uploads the past couple of days. Really want to make sure I'm putting out quality content and not just uploading a video for the sake of it. I hope you guys understand. Make sure you guys give this video a like if you want to see more tutorials, and make sure you guys click the bell to turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. I would really appreciate it, guys. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. There's no other way around it. The best and easiest strategy to secure the win and not choke is by building yourself a 1x1 fort. There is literally no reason to ever build something else other than a 1x1 fort when playing solos. I see people all the time have weird base designs or build like a 2x1 or 2x2 fort. Whenever I see someone building a base other than a 1x1, I immediately know they're not a great player and just push them and get an easy kill because they're too busy focused on building an entire mansion. You can do everything you possibly need to in a 1x1 fort, so there's no need to waste extra material, when you can save it for a future fight or a future base, which we'll get into in just a second. So now that you know you only need to build a 1x1 and nothing larger, you need to know how high or how low you should build it. The lowest you should ever build your fort in the late game is 3 stories high. This is if you're really struggling on materials and can't waste that much on a fort. If you're doing well on materials, the minimum height I would make it would be 4 stories high. This should give you a height advantage on other bases in the circle, or at least be even with them. Making it 4 stories high makes it more difficult for someone trying to siege your base. This will give you more time to react if someone starts pushing your base and make it more difficult on your opponent. The maximum height I would make a base in the late game is 5 stories high. This makes it extremely difficult for someone trying to siege your base and will definitely deter people away from doing so. The higher you are, the more difficult it will be for people to try and siege. This will also make it more difficult for snipers to hit you due to the difference in height elevation. So they're going to have to be really good and factor in the bullet drop when aiming up at you. 5 is probably the perfect height to build your fort in the late game. It should give you a height advantage on other forts and you're almost impeccable by someone pushing. 5 also allows you to hear footsteps on the ground depending on your headset, and if someone tries to sneak up and pickaxe your base down. Anything higher than 5 and you won't be able to hear any of that. Moving on to tip number 3 is you have to take into consideration how many people are left alive in your game. This is important because it gives you a better understanding of how many more times the circle is going to move. An example of this is, you don't want to be building a 5-story high fort with 10 people left because 110% the circle is going to move, and you're going to have to use material to build another fort in the next circle. This next tip is something that I see other players do a lot, and that is peeking from the same spot. You never want to peek someone from the same spot over and over again. You're setting yourself up to be a sitting duck and just to get easily sniped. Whenever you shoot at someone, make sure the next time you peek him to take a shot that you're giving him a different look from a different spot in your fort. This may seem minimal and not drastic, but incorporating this into your gameplay will have very noticeable effects. The last tip we have for you guys is more on the mental side, but I think it can be overlooked and will definitely give you an advantage over your opponents. You want to get a feel for how the people are playing in your game. Is anyone being aggressive and pushing people, or do you hear no action or gunshots going off, so everyone is just probably hiding? This is important to know and get a feel of, because if you have about 10 people left in your game and all you can hear is crickets, then chances are you probably don't have a lot of confident players in your game, and therefore you can take advantage of their jitteriness. On the other hand, if you see someone going off on a rampage and just killing someone after another in the kill feed, then they're probably a decent player that's confident in their abilities. So you'd want to try and maybe take him out while he's fighting another player, so it'll make the game easier for you rather than going against him in a 1v1.
Wiped up plug nose, call me Kleenex. Finesse them the load, he drunk, he seasick.